Hello guys, welcome back to Learning to Manifest Your Desires Part 3. If you haven't seen Part 1 and 2, I recommend you to watch them before we continue with this one. I put the links in the comments underneath. This one is why it should be so important to be clear about what you like to manifest. What kind of desires do you truly have? And here's the thing, you can easily lose yourself chasing a goal which is not worthy and which is not really close to your heart desire. Often we think what we think we need is not what we really need to growth, and it is often an emotional need that has not been fully fulfilled, maybe from our childhood. So I give you a small example. Let's say you have the desire to learn to run the marathon, right? And it can be a legit thing, there's nothing wrong with that. But let's say if you ask yourself deeper why you would like to do that, let's say this person comes from a family that he's never been seen for who he really is, right? Who really achieved what he achieved, and he was always made feel guilty, always made feel bad. Maybe running the marathon is his permission slip or his wish that he thinks on a subconscious level that he will be seen, right? So if he cleared out some limitations around being seen, maybe he doesn't have the desire anymore to really run that marathon because he just knew that it was just to fill an empty spot that he should have filled for himself. So the more you understand why, and if it's really you discover a really worthy goal, for example with me, I just give you my example right now. It also took me to figure out, like, I would like to learn to empower people, and by doing this, I just don't want to be a coach. I want to share my mission to help the world moving better, to learn them to become a deliberate manifester of their reality. And if I can see people grow through my coaching, I get a lot of inspiration, I get a lot of energy, and it's really pleasing me as well to see the world moving better. And here's the thing, the more you can emotionally engage with what you like to manifest, the easier your manifestations become, because an emotional attachment to some emotional engagement to something is very important, because it brings up the energy and brings up the focus. So if your desires are if you do not do what it takes in order to manifest your desires, you might want to ask yourself, hey, what kind of limitation belief do you hold there in order to not following up your desires? And there can be a lot of interesting things that block you. Maybe you are afraid to stand in the center. Maybe you are afraid to feel punished. Maybe you feel afraid for something that blocks you to make that step. And it can also help you to sharpen up your goals. It can help to understand why you actually should be following up your desires. And if you have more clear vision on why you would like to do it, and really write them down, stick that on the wall, and have a clear vision around your future desired version, and you can emotionally engage it, it has to manifest at some point. The important is, when you've have made a clear vision on how you see yourself in your future version, then it's and you embody that emotionally. You think, wow, this is a worthy goal, I like to help to empower people, is in my case, or I like to create a beautiful physical product so people can enjoy it. Maybe like Steve Jobs, he had this big passion to create an iPhone that allowed me to share my knowledge with you guys. Or maybe you have another passion that you really think, wow, this is me, then it's there for you. So the question is, are you willing to face your limitations? Because if you are not wanting to do the work to face your limitations about your beliefs that is there for you, then your ego will talk you out of it. So it has to be a very strong desire, because you will face the contrast. You will face your limitations that are not letting you become that future version, right? And this is the thing that you have to go through it. That's what we call contrast. So if long you keep the focus on what your desires are, you will face contrast. And contrast is where you hold your limitations to show you where you're not it yet. And that can be a painful experience if you do not release it. So what happens if you have a strong desire about learning to manifest? You level up your frequency, and your natural state becomes higher. And what happens? Your subconscious patterns will also come to the surface, and the positive one, but also the negative ones. And actually, life circumstances present. So let's say if you like to, you have a desire to stand into the light and to really shine for who you are. And you start practicing, you start getting on the stage, you want to be an artist. And suddenly, people, let's say someone is judging you, hey, you're not a good artist. And you feel touched by that. And you start thinking, I'm not a good artist. Then you have shown yourself that you hold beliefs in your system that you're not it yet. That doesn't mean that you cannot achieve it, but it means that you want to clean out these beliefs so your energetic and vibrational state changes. So in order to level up to your higher desired version, you will face life circumstances that create contrast, that help you to see where the negative emotions coming from and the negative beliefs. So if you can acknowledge these emotions, you can see that they hold no perspective. So for example, let's say we go back to that artist, and that artist feels that he's not good enough because a person that is listening to that person said, you're not good enough. That means that this person is judging you, right? It's judging the artist. It is actually the judgment of that person. It has nothing to do with you, because whatever whatever you judge is always that person. It's only his own vision. So if you acknowledge that any person can judge you, but if you are not a vibration match to feeling judged, you can never feel judged. So they help you to trigger your deeper traumas. So maybe you feel judged by your parents, your school teacher. But if we can see the reality through the lens of unconditional love, unconditionally giving, then we must be perfect too at any given moment, even though if we think we are not. So if we can see it from the highest perspective, that everything is a perfect manifestation, including the things we do not want, because it just helps us to reveal what's still on the system, to reveal what we want to release. If we do that inner work, we shift that, then the reality has to change, because the reality is a reflection of your inner state. So are you willing to take up responsibility to learn on your negative life circumstances and use them for growth? That's important to grow, to stick to your manifesting your desires. So, and if you are willing to take responsibility with integrity and see all the negative emotions that's coming up, you're going to skyrocket to your mind of manifesting. And I'm telling you, it's not always an easy path, because the ego doesn't want you to grow. But if you are decided and you have the courage to do it, and you have the persistence and you have the focus. And here's the thing, it's not about the physical hard work. It is about doing the mental shifts and the physical shift and the feeling shift. And then you create different inspired ideas or different life circumstances that bring you there. So it's not about making things happen. It is about persistence on the focus and taking the action on your higher self that is guiding you to as the next step. But you have to take the step. You have to act upon it. And if you do not act upon it, and you let your analytical mind talk you out of that desire, as it is not an option because it hasn't shown it, or you do not see the perspective of how it unfolds because the physical mind wants to understand, then you're lost, because then you cannot manifest your desire. So here's just a few things I wanted to share with you. Make sure you have a strong, deep desire, and also check with you if it's a true desire or not. And you can start with one desire, and then you can, along the path, you can ask yourself, is it truly exciting thing to follow, real or not? And then you can make changes accordingly to your desires. But here's the thing, do never talk yourself out of the possibility that it is possible. Every manifestation is possible, but are you willing to pay the price? And if it's an exciting thing to do, then it is not a price to pay. Because if you, let's say you want to become a good dancer, and you enjoy dancing. Then it's a path of least resistance. If I want to be a good coach and I enjoy sharing my knowledge, then it's a natural thing to do for me to make YouTube movies and share it with all the world. And the people that want to know more about it can come in touch with me and ask myself for my program. So the thing is, if you do not doing from the full alignment through excitement, then you're not on the fastest path, because the fastest path is the path of least resistance. But it is an exciting path. It's an exciting path because the path gives fear, because the ego wants you to talk out of that action that you like to have to take up. For me, it took me courage to starting the YouTube channel. I have to push myself through, but at the same time, really enjoy doing it. So, just wanted to share a few things with you guys. So, once again, make sure you have a clear desire. Make sure you keep focusing on it. Make sure you get embodied as the future version already is there. And following up your highest desires always. And do not try to mentalize the things out of it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed watching, want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and follow me for more information. Have a wonderful day. Ciao.